Welcome to SGITMystr. Let's find out which AI writes cleaner DevOps Kubernetes and CI/CD. Know which AI to trust with your infrastructure. Let's dive in.
It's 2 a.m. Your Terraform state is corrupted, your Kubernetes pods are stuck in crash loops, and the pressure is on to ship a fix. In this high-stakes environment, the way your AI interacts with your codebase determines whether you resolve the outage or inadvertently introduce a new configuration error. If you reach for ChatGPT, you're working with a chat box. To solve a complex problem, you have to manually describe the state of your infrastructure, wait for a snippet, and copy it and paste it into your editor to see if it runs. It operates in isolation from your actual environment. Claude Code operates natively as a terminal agent. It scans your directory, edits real files, and executes commands to validate changes in real time. Resolving a production outage requires an AI that can see how a single change to a manifest cascades across your entire repository. To test pure scaffolding speed, we asked both tools to generate an AWS EKS Terraform module from scratch. For this specific task, ChatGPT gets you a working module quickly. It outputs HCL code with a clean structure, successfully separating your variables, outputs, and main configurations. However, while the code compiles, it lacks the default hardening needed for production. ChatGPT's output often omits critical security settings, like restricting the API server to private access, leaving your cluster exposed by default. To see how context changes the output, let's use both tools to build a production-grade CI/CD pipeline. This flowchart represents a standard continuous integration pipeline. Notice the empty nodes where security gates should be. Claude reads your architecture, proactively filling gaps with configurations like OIDC-based AWS authentication. We see the impact in this bar chart. Teams achieved 80 to 90% test coverage using Claude, compared to 60 to 75% with ChatGPT. For the complex work of productionizing infrastructure, starting with an agent that understands your environment helps catch security omissions before the code ever reaches your pipeline. Deep debugging requires tracking multiple variables across a system. Imagine a Kubernetes pod stuck in a CrashLoopBackOff error, where the root cause is buried somewhere inside a codebase of 50 different files. If you use a chat interface, you have to manually copy and paste hundreds of lines of logs. Eventually, the model's context window is overwhelmed, leading to generic advice rather than a specific fix for your environment. Claude traces this error signal through your actual files. It follows the failure from the pod definition through the environment variable expansion and identifies the specific misconfigured ConfigMap file. Now, try to deduce the workflow. Think about the specific terminal command you would give Claude to trigger this autonomous debugging loop for this ConfigMap error. The solution is to pass kubectl describe pod to Claude and direct it to your local k8s/manifests directory. You provide the diagnostic data, and the agent maps it against your local configurations. True debugging power during a crisis comes from an AI's ability to navigate your environment using the same logic a systems engineer would. SWE-bench scores show Claude at 85% and GPT-5 at 82%. But high scores don't guarantee safe production code. Look at this line graph. Recent iterations of Claude show a 93% increase in high-severity blocker bugs compared to earlier versions. This makes one rule non-negotiable. All AI-generated code requires human review and automated security scanning before it is ever deployed to production. This matrix is your daily framework. Use ChatGPT to iterate quickly. It's perfect for rapid prototyping, exploring new architectures, or learning a library. Switch to Claude Code for production execution, security-critical infrastructure, complex multi-file refactoring, and deep incident debugging. Elite DevOps engineers do not choose one tool. They master both to balance speed with security. Download these workflow templates below to start applying this logic to your own deployments.